So, hello everyone, and welcome to Clear Talk. Today we will be talking about music, all right, and what music has played in my life, which is obviously pretty big, seeing as though I am JMD. I play drums behind me. You see them. So yes, I apologize in advance. I am a little under the weather, so hopefully I can get through this with no problems. But but first off, if you have not subscribed and you like this content, please subscribe and click the notification bell to get all the latest videos when I upload them. And also, if you would like, please comment and share. All right, get pass this around to people, and let's build this. Help me build this community. All right. Um, uh, yeah. So let's talk about some music. All right. So, yes, music has been a big part of my life. Growing up as a baby, all the way back to when I was a baby. I'm gonna try to make this story as short as I can. Um, when I was very, very young, like only a few months old, I had colic, so I was crying a lot. And this is a story that's been told to me. It's not like I actually remember this, but um, but the story has been told that I was cried a whole lot, and the only thing that my mom and dad could find to soothe me and calm me, or at least the main thing that they could, it may not be the only thing, but the main thing that they could find was to put me in this old, the old timey swings that rock back and forth, the old school swings, with some headphones on my head, playing music. So from even a baby, music was a big part to calm me and soothe me. And even to today, as music is something that helps to calm me and cool me down, and help calm my mind. Uh, but as early as as a 3 year old or so, I think I've told this story in one of the previous videos. With my grandmother, I used to stay with her quite a bit during the day while my parents worked and stuff. And one big thing I did for the drums, I pulled pots and pans and sandbox, like the little buckets and stuff like that. Um, Bowlers and stuff like that. I lay them out and on the floor, and it wasn't like I was just sitting there banging and beating around on them. I was actually listening to the sounds that each one of them made, and I would actually specifically hit them. Even at that age, I was hearing the depicting sounds through just objects that I was hitting. Um, and then as I continued growing up, as far as drums were concerned, apparently drums were always a part of my life, or something that was in me. I beat on everything. I can tell you how many times my mom would get on to me for beating on everything, like tapping my fingers, or hitting on stuff, the walls, counters, the cabinets, everything. Tables and whatnot. Everything I could tap them on. It's like it was just subconscious. I was just sitting there and just tapping, ta, 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 ta. And she was always getting on to me for it. Uh, but my dad was a piano player, so the first instrument that I actually tried to learn was the piano. He did try to teach me the piano. I think I did lessons for a couple of months, and it just wasn't working. As far as me, and I think it was more just me and him getting along. I think he just had a hard time uh, getting me to focus, and I think teaching just wasn't really his thing. I hope he doesn't get upset that I say that. But I feel like he probably would agree though. Um, but it maybe I would have went further if I would have actually done it under somebody else. My sister did. She did train on piano with an actual pianist teacher. for a little while. I can't remember how long, but anyway. Um, but yeah, so piano didn't work. I did continue to pick around on pianos on my own time. So I know the notes and I can pick around and play, like just pick out stuff and play on it, but I can't actually like look at a sheet of music and transfer it to the piano and play it. That's just not my. I can't do that. And I can't just really play. Go all out like he does. He's fantastic at the piano. Uh, I did try a little bit with the guitar, and I can pick around on one. I made up some songs on the guitar, but as far as literally learning chords and really like playing, never really did that. It just never clicked. I never felt attached or connected to it really, not in that way. I did play the trumpet, sixth grade year of middle school. Back then we called it junior high. But my sixth grade and seventh grade year in People's Middle School, yes, I do recognize that's PMS. That's in Jackson, Mississippi. Uh, I went there and played in the band as a trumpet. I played for 2 years. I was actually pretty good, I would say. I had the trumpet for a while until I was about 20, and I sold it. But and I did play it off and on after that. Um, the highest chair I got in the band was second chair, I think, or I may have, I may have. Well, I think there at the end I did sort of share first chair with another guy, another trumpet. Me and him were like top. He was an eighth grader, I was seventh grader. But so yeah, I did play all uh harmonizing into the melody through the trumpet parts and stuff in whatever we were playing. Our band was really pretty good. But anyways, and like I said, I continued to play that a little bit throughout the years. I would transfer music into trumpet for like church and stuff. I played quite often well, I wouldn't say quite often, but I've played quite a few times in church, doing some church songs and stuff. So I would transfer hymns or whatever. And I would transfer it to trumpet as far as the notes and rewrite it and then play it. Um, I did play at a wedding, I think, once with a trumpet. I think I played one song on it, if I remember right. But anyway, yeah, that. It's the only instrument I per se learned to play. Um, my first wife played the saxophone, and I did play around on it a little bit, which it was my first instrument that I wanted to play, but I kind of chickened down on it and went to the trumpet. But other than that, I really haven't ever played. Well, clarinet. I've played on a clarinet a little bit. My two of my daughters um, did clarinet in band in their school for like a year or a half year or something like that. Well, one of them for a year, I think, and the other one for maybe 2 years. Um, but yeah, that's about the only. That's the expansion of my instruments that I have played around on. But drums was always the big thing. Um, I never had a drum set growing up. Um, I think I said in the previous one of the previous videos that the About Me video that my parents really couldn't afford it, and I want to clarify that it's not I never really pushed to try to get one either. So it's not like I asked and they were like, no, we can't. I never really asked. If they could have made it happen, they probably would have. But I guess we'll never know because I never asked. But I did. I played on other people's. Like I said, there was in one of the churches when I was that we went to in Yazoo City. The pastor at one of the pastors at the time had a set that his son him and his son played off and on. It was in the church, but it was like in the back of the church, not actually in like the sanctuary, but like in a fellowship type hall, um, just kind of upstairs out of the way. And me and his son would go up there sometimes and play on it. And that was the first time I think I really actually sat down at a set and tried playing. And I think I surprised myself a little bit on that. And then one summer I was working for a fireworks stand in Yazoo, and right down the road was a musician that he did some local type gigs. I think you know he may have went out of the state some, but it was like in surrounding states for a group or maybe sometimes solo. But he played like bass and stuff. But he had a drum set in his house, and when we were on kind of on a low time at the fireworks area in the middle of the day, at the fireworks place, me and somebody I was working with there, we went over. He had come in to get fireworks, and he was like, "Hey, if y'all ever want to come over," him and his son. He was like, we can listen, play music or whatever, and if y'all get the moment. So we went over there, and like I said, he had a set, and he had been teaching his son how to play the drums. His son was roughly, I think, around 10, something like that. I was about 16 at the time, maybe 7. I think it was 16. And the other boy that was with me was like 13ish, somewhere in there. It was actually one of the pastor's other sons, not his oldest son, but his next oldest son. And so we get over there, and the guy got on his bass, and he put on a couple of songs. His son played through on the drums on one song. He had only learned like the upper. He hadn't learned footing, so he didn't play the bass and stuff on with the foot. He just played hands up on top. And after he got done, which he did a pretty good job, and then after he got all done, they asked if either one of us wanted to play, and I was like, I mean, sure, I'll get on it for a minute. I'll see what I can do. And he put on, I want to say it was a Winona Judd song, but I can't remember which one. And I played, and I must have done pretty good, because I impressed not only the dad, but I impressed the little boy. He was standing there with his mouth open in awe, kind of, which was very surprising, and I was taken back a little bit by it, because I didn't really think I was doing that much. But so that was the first time that I really felt like, okay, maybe I'm not too bad at this. I really would like to try a little more on it. But well, fast forward about 7-8 years or so, with my second wife, when we were dating, before we actually got married, when we were dating, it's actually, I think, the first Christmas we were together, she bought me my first drum set, which is not this one. This is one that I bought way after. But actually the first set is right here beside me, stacked up, taken down, stacked up. It's a Pearl Forum series. She bought that for me, and I learned, and I sat down, and I never stepped away from them. It was just continuously learning and expanding, and to where I was getting double bass pedals, and trying to learn how to do everything I could learn how to do. And then at one point, reason why I wind up getting this set is that I felt like I was limited. I felt like I had learned and done everything I could on the Forum set, and I wanted to expand the set, but I wanted a better set, with more cymbals and more drums and more. I just wanted more. I wanted this massive set. I thought the bigger the set, the more I could do, and the better I'd be. That's not exactly true, but it does. I would say I wound up getting this set right here. I paid for a few years later. Um, Altogether, I don't even know how much money I've actually put into this set. When I first bought it, I think I paid a little over 2,000 for it. And some of the drums on it now are not what came on it. I've expanded it quite a bit, and as far as cymbals as well. These are not, none of these are the original cymbals. Um, but this, I would have to say that getting this set did expand my my creativeness, I guess you could say, and allowed me to really dig deep into it, and uh, and what sounds I could create on a set. And then every now and then, when I felt like I needed to just step back for a second and simplify things, I would get on this set. I did have it set up here before I put the computer in here, because the computer, I didn't used to have the computer. Um, but I did have this set up right here in this corner. So both sets were in here. My son would play on this one some. I would get on every now and then just to get back to basics, because every now and then you really do need to strip down and get back to basics. It humbles you a little bit, and also just makes you realize that just what you can do even on a simple set. Um, but yeah, so this has been it for me. I mean, I do have a guitar still over here. Every now and then, and I mean blue moon kind of thing, I pick it up and pick on it some. But I don't even really think it's in tune right now. But yeah, that's been music has always been something, for me performatively, all right, but also just music in general has been a big part of my life. Uh, I'm a big rock fan, huge rock fan, and like more modern, uh, from like late '90s grunge up to now. Hard grunge, new metal, and even some progressive. I've gotten into lately some progressive metal, and so I'm a real big rock fan, hard music, and it seems like the older I get, the harder I get. You feel sometimes a lot of people I know have actually gone backwards from that. They started out hard and now they're into the soft shit, but no, me, I've gotten harder. And drums might have something to do with that, because it expands. I use that also to expand my abilities, and learning stuff and doing stuff, different styles, being a little bit more progressive, a little bit more open on it on the set. Um, Doing trying polyrhythms and things like that. Um, but so yeah, rock has always been big. I grew up though on classic rock with my dad. His favorite band was Kansas. Um, so I know Kansas up and down. Every album I've listened to them, I have them on my phone. Every album, and every now and then I actually do actually listen through them. And nostalgically remember, growing up and all these that what they were big in me growing musically and understanding and depicting instruments and notes and things like that, because they were so incredible, musically, um, and way beyond their time, honestly, in my opinion. He was also big in Rush, of course. Yes, Genesis, Boston, 38 Special, uh, but all those bands like that. Uh, uh, Palmer, and what was man, I hate that I blanked on that one. Uh, but all those good classic, progressive rock, progressive classic rock bands. Never was really big in hair era, the 80s. Never really was big in that. Um, it just never really clicked with me that much. You know, the AC/DCs and all that. I respect them, but they just don't click with me particularly. Um, but uh, but yeah. So then the '90s, starting from Nirvana through. I mean, Creed was a huge. I was a big fan of Creed. Then I was a big fan of Stained. But I listened, and I am still in, and always have been a big fan of Korn. Um, and so all those era there. Of course, I also listened to Slipknot and Mudvayne and all those heavier ones as well in that era. Deftones, wonderful. Just all those. All right. Some are gonna hate me on this one, but I'm only like a mediocre Tool fan. I don't like all their albums. I like 10,000 Days was my favorite, by far. Um, but I was actually a bigger, um, uh, what's the other band that Maynard's in? Uh, Circle, Perfect Circle. I was a bigger Perfect Circle fan. Um, but yeah, and then all the way up to uh, I was big Linkin Park. Was huge with Linkin Park. Their earlier stuff more than their later stuff, but and rest in peace, Chester. One of the best vocalists ever, in rock music, honestly. Um, and But now I am, like I said, moving a little bit more into some progressive metal stuff. Um, a band that really changed me, in many ways musically, and especially even on the drums, is a band that I absolutely love and adore now, Periphery. When I come across them, that was a game changer for me. Huge game changer. And I love everything that they have and put out, and they're just so musically talented. Um, and The drummer is phenomenal. One of the best drummers I've ever seen, or heard, or tried to play to. Um, and then that led me into finding bands like Ginger, which then turned me into bands like Spirit Box. Um, so I'm really big in them as well. Ginger, very much so, wonderfully musically, on that. Fantastic drummer in Ginger as well. Um, so yeah, that those are big bands that I listen to now. Um, I do from time to time slip back and listen to other things, here and there, um, but they are my big go tos now, currently. But yeah, so that's music is always it's just been something that I've always done, listening to going down the road, uh, or whatever when I needed to. When I was angry or wanted to just get out, that's the reason why rock music is so big with me. It's something that can allow you to just work through emotions, that other music just can't do. Um, so that's the reason why I love it so much. And Yeah, that's you know that's pretty much about it. Music has always been big, and it will always be big for me. And So, what kind of music do you like? Um, Let me know in the comments some of your favorite bands, the type genre of music you like, whether it's country, rock, rap, hip hop, uh, soul, whatever, rhythm and blues, jazz. Um, Classical. That's another thing. I actually really like classical music as well. I know that sounds odd, but I really actually can. That's the one other genre of music that I can just sit and listen to and just get lost in is orchestral classical music. Um, uh, and that's the reason why I also love orchestrated type stuff in rock music. That's one reason why I like Periphery so much because they actually implement um, strings and full on orchestras, or at least string style orchestras, um, in their music, in a lot of it. Mostly in between songs and stuff like that. There's sometimes in the middle of songs, but yeah, they're real big in that too. So that's one reason why I like them. And I think I grew a love for that from Kansas because they had a violinist, and they are always implementing violins in their music. So I think it was just something that I grew up with and just continue to just love. So yeah, what kind of what kind of music do you like? Put it in the comments. Let's get talking about it. And again, if you like this content, subscribe and all that good stuff. All right. And until next time, this has been Clear Talk. Peace.